I think this is a procumbens that has now nice mature foliage. So it's got this nice scale foliage on it. It's a very old tree, and we'll talk about this tree in a minute. But I really love Shimpaku junipers. I found that they're very disease resistant, they're quick growing, they have beautiful soft foliage when you touch it. And I really enjoyed working with them, and the more you work on something, the better you get at it. It's simple as that. There's no magic touch, there's no magic, vision. It's just the more you do something, the better you're going to get. It's as simple as that. So we can go into all that kind of stuff, but let's talk about this tree first before I talk about anything else. Very old tree. So I know it's come out of an old estate or someone who had these trees for a while. It says here 1998, I think it was. 1998, was that when it was established? Yes. Yeah. So when I look at trees, let's talk about technique. Let's talk about the tree, and let's talk about what we can do, what we can see. What's the vision of the tree? What do we want to achieve? Let's talk about this before I discuss anything else. At the moment, you see a very nice informal upright, I guess you call it, informal upright tree. This is definitely the front of the tree. I mean, I can show you the back. Probably was the back originally. That's the original back. Probably the reason why it was the back, the whole tree is kind of leaning forward. When it's leaning this way, that's usually the front. Okay, the tree's leaning forward to you. It's got a bit of a pigeon breast, they call it a pigeon breast, when it's kind of pointing at you. It looks a bit not inviting, not as inviting, so that's probably why it was the back. Whereas this is much more inviting. It welcomes you into the tree.
The heritage of the tree is from Red Dragon down the coast when it was still there.
Yes, I remember that.
We've got a dearth of nurseries now because all the excellent ones are closed. What was I going to say? Oh, and from a larger nursery pot, about the sort of this size pot of that age, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Very nice. Very mature tree, as we talked about. So let's work with this as the front. Okay. Now, a couple of things that I notice immediately, some things that need to be addressed. The tree, what's something, can you guys point out one thing you think, oh, that doesn't look so right? You don't want to shout out something? Don't be, shout it out. This branch? Yeah, it's kind of drooping, right? It's lost its like vigor, and it's like, I'm just too tired, I'm just droopy. Not very interesting. Anything else you guys see that's probably disrupts your eye a little bit? You go. Oh, because the weight. I believe the weight of the tree was just going to fall down, just like this branch is falling down. Yeah, we'll try and do that. Yeah, we'll try and do that today. So good point. It's leaning, you're right, it's leaning, and the weight's over this side, and the tree can't really hold on to the support of all the foliage that's on it. Anything else? Anything else you guys see that's a bit problematic, or something that doesn't look just right?
Can't see the trunk.
Can't see this trunk?
No, you can see that.
Oh, that's not too bad. I usually like to cover the top of it. That's not too bad. I find this a little bit straight when this is all moving really heaps. There's a lot of movement up here, and this is very straight here. It's got a subtle movement, a little bit. The other thing I'll share one more thing is, do you notice how there's a nice apex here? And it seems to have nice structure around here. And then there's this really heavy branch over here. All right. Do you see? It's got competing elements that you want to focus on. Like, I like to look at if I want to look at a trunk line, I like to look at the trunk line and just enjoy it. But now I'm looking at the trunk line. Do I go this way for this branch, or do I go back up this way to this tree? Okay. So we've got a couple of things we want to do today. There's a couple of options. Now, I always like to, when it's a new tree, usually I do demos, I bring my own stuff and I just do it. But this is brand new. First time I'm looking at it. I saw some photos of it. But I want you guys to work with me and design it. What do you guys want to, you tell me what you want to do with it, and I'll show you some ideas that I have. Definitely we're going to play with this as the front. I'd like to slightly tilt the tree this way. Now, the reason I want to slightly tilt it is it takes away the weight from this end so it doesn't fall over as much. Does that make sense? So the tree, we can eliminate that pretty much. We won't need that later. Maybe. We'll think about doing that. Now we're left with what's the tree, which way is the tree going? Which direction is it moving? There's all this kind of stuff, but I don't want to get into that. One thing I know for sure is if we want to keep this branch, we just have to bring it up a bit more, okay? To see how simple that was, just slightly bring it up a bit more. Clean up, we've got to wire all the branches, clean underneath, all that kind of stuff. Very simple process. There's a few heavy branches at the back, but that we can deal with them, we'll just reduce them slightly. All right, but what are we left with? Now we're left with a nice tree here, and we've got this really big bit over here, don't we? It's still competing, okay, so what are we going to do here? Thin it out? Is it going to be a branch, do you think? You want to have it as a branch? All right. I'll give you another idea. Correct. So I'm thinking there's a couple of ideas. I'm going to throw them out to you. Tell me which ones you like, okay? We can go, that definitely has to go up or no matter what. This whole branch is ginned off. And we end up with a literati kind of look with just this side of the tree. One idea. Does everyone see that? If this is all ginned and gone, then you've got actually movement, direction, and into direction on this side. So the tree's going to be going this way. Okay, ready for another one? That's one option. Who said let's create, again, this has to go up. Can we create a new tree, have a twin trunk, kind of older tree, smaller tree, apex branches. Can we do that? Do you like to? I've just got to put my hands in the right spot so you guys can see it. So this would go probably up, down, and these go around. And we carry another little tree in there. Can you guys see that maybe? Possible? Yeah? That's an idea too. So keep with this idea, create a tree here. Imagine I create a new apex tree, and then we gin all this off. Yeah. See, yep, everyone say, did you see that one too? Remember, if we create a tree in here, I'm not saying this is the answer, I'm just trying to give you options. It's hard, isn't it? See how many choices you got? Yeah, so there's probably an issue with the trunk being straight too. But there's three good options, really. There's actually three really good options. Whichever one we go with, they're going to be good. Who likes which option? Option one, this branch goes up, this is all ginned off. Gin's all here. Oh, there's only a few people. All right. Option two, that one there, apex, twin, like a two tree, one tree here, like two trees. Oh, there's more for that one, okay. So I guess no one likes the ginning all this off and leaving this tree. Only one, two, not enough, guys. Not enough. All right, so which one, what is it? I want to ask a question. Did everyone vote for that one because they're worried how much foliage we're going to cut off? Or does it just look better? Just looks better. Say again? So shows a bit better. This one? Oh yeah, we'll be thinning that out, making it a nice little tree along with this as well. That's a lot of work for me today, damn it. I should have, if I just ginned it, I would be done in an hour. All right, so. No. Accidentally chop it. All right, so I think the winning vote was, which is the most of the work, is try to create a tree here, a little tree here, like a little mother-daughter, not really mother-daughter, but a little apex here with branching, and fix this up as well. So I have two tops, kind of two little. I would vote for ginning this and having the literati style. That's what I would vote for. Oh, look at him. Are you going to make me override? Is that overriding everyone? Do I have the deciding vote? No.
You can always do that afterwards if you don't like the look of it.
No, yes you do. What I'm trying to teach is the hardest thing in bonsai. You know what the hardest thing in bonsai is?
Trying to decide on the design.
No. There's a word for it. No.
A decision.
Decision, close. I'm showing you different visions I have for the tree. Vision of the tree, vision of the outcome is the hardest thing. Cannot teach it. But I want you to open your minds to all the ideas that can come out of this tree. So many ideas. Like if I spend another hour, I can find more things that you can do with it. You know, it's crazy what you can do with it. Let me just see if I want to do the twin trunk. I don't mind it.
It's spinning out.
All right. No, I won't do that. Let me work on this area, and we'll get this branch right, get some of these branches in place, and then we'll think about this side. All right? Because once it's gone, it's gone, okay? The reason I thought this would be a nice literati, it's got the movement. You probably don't even need that as much. You probably have to just slightly go up a bit more. The reason I thought literati is I like to tell a story about a tree. What caused this tree to grow the way it grew? Okay? At the moment, you got the tree goes this way, goes a little bit that way, a little bit this way, but then it all comes over this side. So over the years, something's happening on this end of the tree. Something is pushing it over, blowing it over, doing something to it, right? But why is the healthiest branch on this side of the tree? Doesn't make sense to me. Does that make sense? This tree's been bashed. Go out, and I'm sure you get windy areas somewhere, right? The whole tree, there's nothing usually on this side, you know? That's the story I like to try and tell. Now, I think this tree will look good without this, or this tree does look good with it as well. I think it would do, but it doesn't tell the story that I wanted to tell. All right? Is that okay? Does that kind of make sense to everyone? Sorry? but I know I Glenn's wanting me. I think he wants me to chop it. That's all right. All right. So first thing, now you guys in the workshops, what did I make you all do pretty much in the workshops? Wire. Wire is the number one thing to do. If you don't like wiring, don't do bonsai. Let's put it that way. Don't do any conifers. Don't do even maples. You can get away with putting just like wire on the main branches. You can get away with it. You know, deciduous trees. But if you want to do junipers, conifers, any conifers at all, you need to wire. Wire. Very important. All right, now I'm going to turn this tree back to me and start wiring. I did notice it had a bit of damage, this tree. I think it's just because it's so old. Yeah, there's a branch that's a bit loose. I might have to, that's all right. We'll rework all that. All right. I don't think I would need that anymore. Now, the wiring part is like the worst in the demo. You know why? You're going to fall asleep. All right, but you know what? How important is wiring? It's very important. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to treat just this part of the tree as all I'm going to keep, just for now. So obviously we need to start at the lowest branch, work our way up. There's some reasonably heavy branches at the back. I will put wire on them as well, because if you can see, they're quite long, and the tree's here. I'll turn it around this way, actually. I'll show you where the branches are. That's the branch there, and that's the apex. I don't want it so far away. I'm going to try and put wire and bring it in a bit more, okay, before cutting much off. I don't want to cut things off. I don't like cutting things off. Everyone at the workshop knew I didn't like cutting stuff off, unless I had to. All right. Sorry? Unless it's the bottom right. Do you guys want me to cut it or not? No, you do. Some do. Some are convinced now. Once you hear the story I'm trying to tell, you kind of make sense. Get rid of it. All right. Let me get this branch in place, and then we'll work it on the rest. Now, one thing I do, because you know how hard it is sometimes to measure the right amount of wire. Do you guys find that hard sometimes? All right. One little thing I learned is just keep the roll in your hand. If you're strong enough, keep this roll in your hand. And if you work it, you can do it. You can even leave it on the ground. Now, in the workshop today, that we had a lot of smaller trees with lots of long branches. And when you want to bend those, it's a different technique than what I'm doing now. I've gone back to the normal traditional 45-degree angle because I'm not actually bending them so heavily. Like I'm not really putting massive twists that I do normally in trees to get them smaller. If you've got long bits, which I was doing with, I did a bit with you and I did Ellen. Ellen was the big one I did. Where's Ellen? There he is, right in front. Ellen I did massive. He had a long piece like this and we kind of twirled it into an apex about that tall. All right, because we had to wire the tree at 30-degree angles. The angle is 30 degrees. You know, this angle along the branch is 30 degrees. So who likes wiring? Oh, you do? Oh, that's awesome. You guys are well taught. Glenn's doing a good job. Yeah, there's a lot of people in Melbourne say, no, I don't like wiring. I was like, oh, geez. I think wiring's actually quite therapeutic. For me, anyway. It's very therapeutic. Oh, Lindsay! Hey, Lindsay! It's very therapeutic, right? Wiring. So I haven't actually cut it off, have I? I've left it on the ground. Left it at the... So then I can just use... And I don't waste wire. I hate to say that. But it's true. Now, the other thing with wiring, especially heavy wire and heavy branches, is the direction of the wire, okay? And I'll explain that in a section. The direction of the wire, whichever way you wire the branch, is the way you're going to bend the branch. I'll show you what I'm saying in a minute once I get this done. Now, everyone has a journey in bonsai, just about, right? Everyone has a journey. Now, my journey was pretty much like most people, I reckon. I really wish I could have gone to Japan and learnt and became a student. I really wish I could, but I guess when I was young enough, I was never into it enough to do that. Like, if I was into it as much as I am now, I'd be there instantly when I was younger. So I'm very jealous of all those people who got to do that. So I just learned, I picked up bonsai when I was about 22. I was straight out of uni and just started working. And it was a very stressful job. I thought it was going to be easy once I finished uni, but it wasn't. It was worse. It was very stressful working, corporate, software engineering kind of stuff, really full on. And it's like, oh man, I needed something. I didn't even realize I needed something. I was just that stressed and that confused. I'll just show you the wiring, what I meant, before I jump back to the story. So this branch, if I want to wire it towards you, see the bottom part, the end bit? The end bit's pointing towards you. When you go underneath and it's pointing towards you, that's the way it's going to bend. Does that make sense? I try and keep it very simple bonsai. So if I want to wire the branch this way to me, that bit of wire has to point to me at the end. Underneath points to me. Does that make sense? Is that okay? It's a very simple one. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, I get confused. I don't know why I get confused. But just for my sanity, that's what I do. So we've already put one bit of wire on this. And if you use heavy enough aluminium, you can pretty much do anything. I mean, I like copper as well, but aluminium's good if you've got a tree you're just designing, it's not a show tree. If it's a show tree, try and use copper, because if it's a show tree, you should be at the level where the tree's so refined that it's only small stuff you have to do to it to get it looking right. So you can use copper to do that. It looks smaller, thinner, and it looks quite nice and neat. Whereas aluminium, you just slap the stuff on. It's so good, right? You can bend stuff, twist stuff. Very easy. All right. So it's going to work. It's getting there. All right. Yeah, it's pretty easy. So it already looks heaps better with it more up. It looks just, we have to wire all the sub branches, but remember it was just drooping. It doesn't look strong. It looks nice now, a bit more stronger and a bit more interesting. And this branch at the back was more pointing out. Now I've twisted it more closer into the trunk. When you go into the trunk, you shorten it. So now it's actually short. This is longer now, so we've got to deal with those later, but this is now close, nice and close. Oops. That's all right. We've got lots of branches. Let me check. I don't even know where I cracked it. No, it's fine. It's a split. No problem at all. Not a problem at all. As long as it doesn't crack up in your hand. If you hear a little crack, it's okay. Check it. Make sure it hasn't fallen right off, and you should be fine. Yep. You can have a look later if you want. Don't be surprised. All right. So I was telling you a story how I started. Everyone starts in a different way. So for me, I was going through uni. I was like, finished uni, got a job, and it was so stressful. And then I didn't know what I needed. Like, I went to the gym and worked out thinking that was enough. But no, it wasn't. So I had to get something else. And one of my friends was looking at a book. Now, when one of your friends is 22 and looks at a book and it's got flowers in it and maple trees in it and it's got artwork and bonsai trees? What's bonsai? You know, what's that? What Mr. Miyagi does, you know? Everyone knows Mr. Miyagi, Karate Kid. Yeah? It's like, what's going on there? And he's looking at this book and it's like, oh, geez. He goes, I'm going to do this. Do you want to have a go with me? What are you going to do? You're going to grow bonsai trees? He goes, yeah, it's really fun. It's really interesting. You know, I want to do it. He goes, I go, you know what? I'll just go along with you. You just want to go along with him to a nursery, right? I shouldn't say the biggest mistake. It's not a mistake. It was like, you go there, you buy it, get a tree, and you style your first tree. And how good do you feel? How awesome is it? Did you guys, that's how I felt. It's like, this is amazing. This is so much fun. I can't believe how cool this is. You know, I was like, I didn't realize what I found. Like, I didn't actually realize how good this was. And, you know, it wasn't long, I had 200-300 trees in my backyard. Who's done that? Anyone done that as well? Yeah? So 200-300 trees in my backyard. Oh, crazy. At 22, 23 years old. You know, who would have thought? Me doing bonsai, oh my God. I cop so much flack too. I don't know how you guys are. But when you're 22, 23 and you do bonsai and you go, and it's like, what are you doing? Which, you know, it's a bit strange. Anyway, in my what's it called? In my family and stuff like that, it's so weird. Got called Mr. Miyagi and everything else. When Don Burke came on, remember Don Burke, Burke's Backyard? Hey, Don Burke, like, nickname of Donnie for a while, you know, like, you know, every little, you know, funny story I was copying, you know, every joke. But you know what? Just loved it, right? Is that how everyone else felt? I don't know how everyone else got into it, but that's my quick story on how I got into it. But then the reason I stayed in bonsai so much is I found a club. And I think you guys have done the right thing anyway. I'm not saying clubs are the best, which they are, but the club was the best thing I did, best thing I found. There was a show on. I went to a show, like a bonsai show. And I was maybe 6 months into my bonsai discovery, I would say. And once you go to a show for the first time and you see the trees on display and then you go home and you see, oh my God, I've got a long way to go. Who's done that, right? Everyone, right? Oh my God. But then you go in the sales area and it's the cheapest damn things you've ever seen in your life. So cheap, right? Sales area at a show is the cheapest place to buy bonsai. And my car was full of trees about 10 minutes later. I just bought everything I could grab. You know, whatever you can grab, I just bought it. And and to my poor parents who I was living at, their backyard was just, you know, overwhelmed. But it is what it is. So that's how I started. That's how I got into it. And I found that the clubs were the best thing you could do. But then I think a couple of years into being a member of the club, I got conned into joining the committee. Conned, I don't know if they're... Sorry. Clint probably feels the same way as me. I got so conned into it because... And then we had a great committee. There was like 10 people on it, 12 people on it. It was great. And then the president, who was president for maybe 15 years, goes, he's had enough. He's walking away. So another guy stepped into that role for 2 years and said, David, just be vice president. Just help me out for a bit. Just be vice president. And guess what happened to that guy? So he left as well. So if you're vice president, guess what job you have to take? The president role. So 20 years later, I am still the president of Bonsai Northwest in Melbourne because no one else wants the damn job, honestly. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe you'll have someone who feels sorry for you, Glenn, and does the job. But yeah, I mean, I say that in a bad way, but it actually isn't as bad as that. But it is 20 years. So I think it's more important for younger people to take over because they got the ideas. Not younger, but even new into bonsai. If you've been in bonsai maybe 5 years, it's good you need that kind of mentality to take over because you've probably got fresh ideas. You got probably fresh ideas you want to try, probably got some stuff that is new and you can do it, and I don't know. You got probably fresher ideas. I'd like to say younger people to take over because that's a good thing because I had to do it when I was younger. But don't be scared to join the committee. It's good fun. You know, look at the young guy here. Committee member, future president right there. I said, I'm about your age when I was president. Seriously. It's not fair, I tell you. But when I joined, you know, it was, when I became president, it's like 20 years ago, like websites and stuff was still being built and the newish, you know, having a website was newish for the bonsai community. And we had a really cool one. Like I used to spend heaps, because I was a software engineer. It's easy for me, right? Build a website, no problem. And it was just, that's what I implemented. And now our club went from like 20 members to 150 members or something ridiculous. So that's what I'm saying by, I have no idea what bloody TikTok is, and that's one of the biggest things at the moment. Don't do bonsai on TikTok, whatever that is. You know, Instagram's enough for me. That's about all I can do. And Facebook is supposed to be for the older people now. So it's like not even new people. It's like, I don't know what's going on. But yes, if you're young, join the committee. There you go, Glenn. I'll vouch for you. All right, so I'm just wiring some of the heavy stuff around. Nothing funny, nothing interesting. Just wiring. So what other things can we talk about? I talked about wiring with aluminium versus copper. Yeah. So all my show trees is copper. Anything I want to display is copper. Now I heard you guys have a show coming up. Is that right? Not far. September. That's it. Do you guys put like a catalogue together of trees on show or nothing like that? No. Oh, that's us. Sorry. What we do at our club now, we just started putting. So we put a catalogue. We imagine the trees on display. We've got a number for all of them, 1, 2, 3, and then people pick up a catalogue saying tree 1 is this. This is the variety. There's a couple of sentences. 10 years as nursery stock, and then just that's something we just implemented, and it seemed to work really well. So we have a number at the front of the tree, and then you pick up whoever comes in and pays to come to the exhibition. They pick up a paper that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and each of them has each description about the tree. Does it make sense? Like the name of the tree, botanical, common, and then a little description about grew from seed 20 years ago or something. Very simple, but people really liked it, I think. And we just implemented that first year, and it went really well. But the best thing was it made people pick their best trees and put them in the show. I don't know if you have problems, but it's hard to get everyone to display a tree. Or maybe you guys are better off than us, but it's really hard. But once you actually give them hey, you know what? This is put it in a catalogue, explain about it, talk about it. People were putting it in and they loved it. Like, it worked really well. So there you go. Another little bit of gem there. All right. I'm going to be here wiring all bloody day now. No. So the other thing is, in this club, I'm sure I can see already a couple of good, strong mentors you can plug into, hopefully. But mentors in a club is huge. Having a mentor to talk to, like Glenn and others, is massive. Like, I'm lucky in Melbourne. When I first started, we had like some real interesting and very talented people. Not sure if you know Quentin Valentine. Have you ever heard of Quentin Valentine? He's like, if you see his trees, holy moly. Just, Bjorn, Bjorn home online. So we had him in 2015, I think, come to the club. I invited him down, he came and did workshops and all that kind of stuff. Now it's impossible to get him almost. And then we brought him out for the convention a couple of years later, but he actually went to Quentin's, he goes, these are Kokofu level trees. There's not many you can say in Australia saying Kokofu level. Like, Kokofu is, Kokofu, guys. So that's how really. So when you have someone like that, you just plug into them, right? Just plug into them. They're happy to help, happy to learn, happy to teach, or happy for you to learn off them, happy for you to do anything, ask them questions, name it, you name it. But and then we've got Han. Do you know Han? How are we going?
Anytime in the next 15 minutes when you find a nice time to take a break.
Okay, perfect, cool, sounds good. I already got the word. Time limit. No, I'm kidding. I want to get to the point where we cut this off after the break. Okay. But I like talking about stuff. It's not, you can talk about other stuff. Wiring this tree is very boring. As I said, there's nothing really that exciting. But talking about stuff and talking about, why you love it is a lot of fun. Give me some reason why you love it. Who's not scared to say something? Why do you love doing bonsai? Relaxing. That's my. Where's that? I don't see any. At the where? Yeah, that's right. Yes, we do have our meetings at the Bowls Club. That's correct. Sounds good. I think, did anyone say it's quite artistic? Creative? Yeah, you did. That's what I find as well. It's all those plus that. It's like, you can't lose. And they're alive and they're changing all the time, and yeah, it's all good, all that good stuff, isn't it? I'm just going to get one more big or heavy wire on there. And whilst we have a break later, I'll try and do some fine. I like to try and get some fine wiring done too, but we'll see how that goes. Now, when you use aluminium, to be honest, the tree's going to look a little bit ugly. It is heavy wire, like it kind of sticks out a little bit. But you know what? Don't be too alarmed by that, okay? Don't be too worried about that, because you're still growing the tree. This tree isn't going to an exhibition, I believe. It's not going to an exhibition. Oh, okay. I better do my wiring better then. Okay. So I probably won't I won't wire every single branch. Usually I wire every single branch. But on this tree, I won't do that. I'll just wire the main branches and then trim a lot of the foliage to get it looking good. But I wire pretty much on Junipers absolutely everything. Except the really fine stuff, you can't get a wire on it. And I know the guys, Elaine and, what was Glenn? No, Ryan, that's right, Ryan. I know they both fully wired their tree, and their trees look really good. Do you agree? When you fully wire it, it looks so much better. Sorry, I'm going to say yes. That's the right answer. Oh, mate, what a great answer. Yeah, it is true. I do know that. That's correct. But I found, and you make friends because obviously the club and in other clubs and travelling around and you name it. I know Brad was talking to me about how many times he's been to Japan. I mean, how many times would you go to Japan if you weren't in bonsai? How many times would you have gone to Japan if you weren't into bonsai? Yeah, once or twice probably, but because you're into bonsai, how many times now? There you go. Pretty cool. Get to travel, get to go to conventions, get to visit the rest of Australia, see what they're doing. So I wonder, so conditions-wise, like Brisbane conditions versus Melbourne, obviously massive difference. Is there anything here you can't grow that, because I'm not 100% aware what you can and can grow, like in Melbourne, we pretty much can grow anything except figs outside. We can't put our figs outside, but I'm sure you don't have that problem here. No chance, right? You've got no issues with putting figs outside. But is there any species you can't grow because of the humidity or anything like that? Or is it citrus trees? You can't grow citrus? Deciduous. Oh, deciduous. They don't go well. Yeah, white pines will struggle here. Yeah. Black are okay? Oh, okay. Inland though, yeah. But down this side, no, up here, no way. Yeah. Even larch in Melbourne's really hard. Larch in Melbourne is really hard. I find they like to just not grow very much and then die after a while, larch. Yep. So that's exactly the best thing. So I've been to Perth a couple of times doing same thing as this, demos and workshops, and they grow black pines like weeds, honestly, because of the heat. If you get heat, black pines heat, but you can actually give them some sort of dormancy, wow, amazing how many flushes they can get. Like black pine, I can only get, if I cut all of my candles in December, which I do, I can only get one more flush for the year. You know, that's it. Yeah, see, you guys can get 3, 4, flushes. That's amazing. Do you know what I mean by that? A flush? So black pines are called multi-flush pines because you can cut the candles, they get a new candle. Cut the candles, they get new ones, new buds all the time. And when you cut one, you get 3 or 4 in one spot. Cut back to 2. They grow. Cut those again. Grow 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. Now, if you could do multiple layers of that in one season, you're going to have amazing pines. Yes, I'm jealous. But Melbourne, we can only do one cut, and by March, April, we have the second buds, and that's it. We've got nothing left. We can't do any more cuts. So that's good. But yeah, we do love our maple. I love my maples. So maples grow wonderful in Melbourne. But figs, if I leave them outside and our frost, as I've killed a couple because of the frost. Yeah. So I was worried there was a branch in here that was a bit dangly. It's actually, we can fix that by cutting it off and putting other branches in its place. It just seems like it's an old branch. Sometimes it happens, like unfortunately they're a bit dead in the middle and they just break off. But I can always, it's a simple thing just a simple thing. There's a bit of a gap now. Get a bit of wire those around, no problem. Okay? Don't ever be scared by a branch breaking off. You can replace it with other branches. It shouldn't be that hard. All right. I'm going to maybe keep wiring, and I know you guys got afternoon tea. Do you want? All right, so all I've been doing is putting more wire on the tree and starting to trim it. Now, the way you trim junipers. How do I say this? When I started back 25 years ago, we were told to pinch junipers, pinch, and pinch by doing this, pinch, just do this, right? And then we get people from Japan coming over, what are you doing to your junipers? Why are they all brown? We pinch, like the way you told us. No, not pinch. It's just different translations, different terminologies, you know. They say pinch, but meaning maybe pluck the whole branch off, pluck or cut with scissors, something like that. Because what happens when you pinch, you get brown everywhere because you're making wounds everywhere. Okay, so that's one thing. Don't pinch. I know, probably most people don't do that anyway, but don't pinch, just go over. That's like doing this, getting scissors and go, same, that's going to brown, that's the same thing, right? That's how I think of it. Pinching is the same as doing this. We don't do that to junipers. So I know some of you, yeah, Ryan and Alan would have seen it. You come in with scissors and cut out, oh no, who else was it? Jenny? No. Who else saw the, you got to go in and cut the foliage. Like, if this is a long piece, you can see this piece is kind of, I don't know if you can see that, it's a bit hard to see. But if you get a long piece, junipers put out shoots. So you actually come in and only cut it once, right? And you only cut one cut there, taking out the middle bit. Can you even see where I cut? Probably can't, because there's so much foliage. And the layer underneath, so the branch goes like this, you cut there. These ones here just fill in that gap. Okay, so there's a big shoot that comes out and all this foliage, you cut it there, and then it's just part of the cloud foliage of the foliage. So that's one thing. Also underneath, anything growing down, I tend to just pluck with my hands. Pluck it off, pluck it fully off. It's like cutting it off, but I'm physically pulling it right off. So you can see on, where's the front? Is that the front? So you can see this is that branch that we wanted to keep. I've tried to clean it up as much as I can without wiring every single branch, which I tend to do. But I just tried to give it a nice clean up. If there's something growing down, I'll just cut it off or pluck it off. You know, just pluck. And if there's something too tall, come in and it's only cut once. You can't even see where I cut. It's only one cut. Bang. So it's getting there. I mean, I'd like to sit here another 5 hours and wire it all, but I think you'll be all asleep, including me. No, not including me. Yeah, so junipers, that's the way to trim them. I'm just giving it a trim now a little bit because I can't really wire everything. It will just take me too long. And it's coming okay. Like, it's much more thinner. You can probably see now much thinner, much more open. There was a branch that broke in here. You can have a look later, but I've kind of covered it, so you can't really even see. Okay, the back is slowly getting reduced. You can see how much that's come in. That's come in a lot. This is starting to come in. I'm just giving it a bit of a trim. So it's looking really good. It's a nice little tree without me doing so much work to it. So talking about conventions, I've run 3 of them in Melbourne. I'm not doing any more. That's it. Maximum 3 is enough. They are heaps of work. So the team here, whoever's involved, it is a ridiculous amount of work to run a convention. So, and guess what? We do it all for free. It's our own time, it's our own volunteer. Everyone's a volunteer, right? So, man, great job, guys. Seriously, that's a huge amount of money you made, by the way, Glenn. That's a massive amount. That's great. Good news for the club. You can have more stuff. You can do more stuff with it. So really good news for you guys. Plus you got to watch, world-class talent. Not like Melbourne talent here. World-class, not Melbourne. So the first convention I was involved in was 2007. And we had Marco Invernizzi, if you know who he is, he's Italian. And we had Michael Persiano. I don't know if he's around anymore. He's an American guy. It was quite good. It was really, really nice. And my first convention, I was like, wow. Didn't know what I was doing. But the best thing is, by the third one, I knew exactly what I was doing. So that was my favourite convention. We had Bjorn. Hurricane. Did anyone come to that one? Bjorn in Melbourne? We had Bjorn. Yeah, that was good. Like, Bjorn was just, oh God. He's that good. You think he's great online, but oh my gosh, he's just in person, and do a workshop with him. Oh, transform. So Bjorn was 2015. I brought him out just for the club, and it was probably him that really took me to the next kind of level of bonsai. Because when you actually see someone like that work, you go, how the hell am I going to get to that? Like, instantly looking at trees, knows exactly what to do, knows how to convey the message across to you, does it so simply, and then by the end of the workshop, your tree's done. It's like, how in the world did you do that? That's just amazing. So he was the one that I kind of blamed for me to be just, plodding along, thinking I know what I'm doing, to like, I'm here, but I want to get to over here, and this is how you have to do it to get to the Bjorn level. Like, I'm not there, obviously, nowhere near him, but you got to strive to get to somewhere. You got to strive to get to a point where, you want to get to. So Bjorn was the one who said to me, you know what, just go along, do things, go to workshops, do this, do that. This is how you do this. And he told me a few things about YouTube and stuff like that. And I go, no one's doing anything. No one's doing anything in Melbourne, even Australia, on YouTube, really. Our conditions, especially Melbourne, no one was doing anything in Melbourne conditions. I just started filming what I did. Even though my filming was terrible, I didn't have a microphone, I didn't have anything, but I just started to just share my experiences. All I did was work on my trees, and I just showed what I was doing. And it was just pleasing to see that people were happy to see that and happy to be engaged in it. And I just kept doing it. I didn't mind, And then I started the YouTube channel, and it kind of went off, which was good fun. And I don't know, I actually enjoyed it. If you don't enjoy it, then you wouldn't do it. So, and I've got 600 plus videos on there now. I just saw the other day, I went over 600. So, that's a lot. But without even feeling it, because it's just what I do. I don't do anything extra. I don't go and buy trees and do, it's just what I've got. And a lot of my customers now bring their trees, obviously, and I do their trees. So that's how I can get more videos, like bring trees in and work on them and style them and things like that. All right. So I think I'm pretty happy with this side, this section of the tree. I'll just turn it around. It's looking okay, nice and thinned out. Not too bad. We'll tweak it if we need to, but there's a lot of work there. All right, do we do it or not? You want to do it? We'll do it? I don't know. I just want to double check. Once I cut it, that's it. I don't know about this now. It looks really nice. But it needs to be up. Yeah, I can't have it lower. The only problem is if you want to sell this tree, you got to change the angle of the pot. So you just have to maybe slip pot it into the right angle. I think something like that now. That looks a lot better. Now I'm a bit more comfortable to cut it. But because we're going to have a gin there's going to be an element of balance. Because if there was nothing there, it will look kind of like unbalanced and fallen over. Having a gin there will look actually quite interesting. Balances the tree. I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to keep. Like in terms of, am I going to keep all the branching? All right. Ready? Who's scared? All right, now, do you want me to wire it all up, put it in place, and then go, oh no, let's cut it anyway? Could do that too. All right. No, we're going to cut it off, put a gin. If you want to, let me just see. I'll just see if we can use it. I just think it could work if I just kept, it could work, but if I just kept this part and not this part, it could work. I'm just not convinced it's as exciting a tree. It's just not as exciting as a tree, like not as dynamic as I'd like it to be. It becomes a very, not ordinary, very not Mickey Mouse. What's safe? Not Mickey Mouse. You know that word? There's a word. I'll figure it out eventually. Pedestrian, yeah, something like that. It's very, very pedestrian. All right, we'll use that word. All right, that's enough me talking. That's enough. Unbelievable. I see, that would look okay, right? It would look okay with it, but it's very, it doesn't give that dynamicness. Not cookie cutter, I won't say that, it's a horrible word. Is the previous owner okay with what I'm doing? I know you're looking after it right now, but you're okay with this? Yeah, yeah.
My job's done. Janet.
Who's dying? Who's dying? Oh, Jenny. Your tree is beautiful. What we did with it. Yeah. Oh, no. All right, let's have a look. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, looks so good. It's going to look so good. It's brilliant. It's going to look really good. It's the right choice, okay? It is the right choice. It's actually going to look quite stunning. All right, very quick. Let's just put the gin on. I just like to score it just so I don't go past this line when I gin it. I would, but this has really nice movement. If it was a really long one, I would. This is actually quite nice. It's got branching in the right spot. It's actually quite good. I don't think I have to do anything really to it. I think it'll look good just naturally like that. But yes, I would. I always do. Because usually my work is, there's a lot of long whips I've got. And when I squash them down, squash the gin down, it looks a lot better. And you need to do that. You can't have gins out here and the tree's this small. Doesn't make sense. So. No, not a dumb question. It's a good question. Thanks for... What was that? I missed. What was that? How do you guys go with fertiliser here? What do you guys use here? Osmocote. Everyone always asks me, what fertiliser do you use? And I think you've heard me on YouTube say this a lot because I'm so lazy when it comes to fertiliser. Like, honestly, does everyone remember, like, every 2 weeks to fertilise their trees? Does everyone really, honestly, like, it's hard? I know the serious people probably do. You do good, or every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and whatever the bottle says you do, and I don't know, it's like, I'm the worst. So what? So fertiliser is one of the things, if you're really good and very, you can get away with, if you do it every 4 weeks or whatever the packet says, then you're doing really well. But if you're lazy like me, there's so many products out there now, you just throw it on and it does the job. So, Osmocote's good, but it looks yellow, right? It's yellowy and you can see it. So I'm not a sponsor of anything like this, but I found Power Feed have a granule, small brown one. You can't see it. Put it on the soil. It looks like it's part of the soil. And last year I used that. The only thing I used was Power Feed, and probably my best result in my trees in growth. My maples just kept growing pretty much all spring, all summer. Didn't really slow down, which is unbelievable. My pines looked the best. They had so much fall candles and healthy growth. Junipers look nice and green. So it must be that, because I'm the worst fertiliser you can get, I reckon, in terms of liquid feeding. Like, I'm so bad with liquid feeding. But Power Feed's a really good product. I just like to share everything that I know with you guys. Like, if I learn something, I'm going to share it because that's what I was taught. I had Quentin, I had Han, Han Balak Bonsai. You've probably seen him on YouTube, a little Asian guy, twisting up trees and trunks. Oh, am I getting the message already?
No, not you. I was just going to segue in there. I was just a little bit slow getting the microphone started. The display table. Thanks for those who put stuff in there today. Molly's obviously got a lot of stuff, actually a really tiny one. Power feed is the little sample or gift of appreciation that we put with the trees up there for today.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you for those recordings. Power feed and some sea salt.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, it's nice to mention that. So well done. Thank you for bringing that in. Next time, make sure you bring something in that you're proud of. Okay, it doesn't have to be the super best tree ever, but it's the one that's meaningful to you. Sorry,
That's all right. So we do that as well. I have a little display table every month. It's good. It's a good thing to do. And you can have a chat about it, chat about a tree. Grab, if you're newish, put a tree up there, bring a tree in, and grab Glenn or whoever you get. Grab Brad. Just say, come and have a look at my tree. Let me know what you think. Put them on the spot. But it's a good way to learn when you're not doing a workshop or, you want to just know a bit more about a tree. Do you guys run workshops like just general workshops? Just people bring? Yeah. That's good. But I always say the best way to learn, you can't learn from someone the same level as you, right? You can only learn from someone better than you. So when you have, not saying me, when you have people coming international, people coming from interstate, go to do their workshops. You're always going to learn something. Even if you just learn one thing, The guys today who did Junipers learned that by wiring a bit more tighter, the right thickness of wire, they can take trees this tall into trees this small. And once that wire, it might be all coiled, once that tree grows, you can't see all the coils of the branch. All you see is the foliage, and you see this mini tree this small. That's how the Japanese do it. That's how they do it.
And as you say, you learn from someone better. The other thing, especially for beginners, remember you're only ready to consume certain information. Like some of the stuff that Dave's doing here today, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to get because you're still thinking about why is that branch there, or the underlying structural information. Remember, I'm a school teacher. I know that. But so as you go, you could come along and see the same demonstration again in 2 years' time, and you'll learn something completely different. And even top bonsai artists will come and watch someone else do something and learn something new. It might be very different from what you learned at a different earlier stage in your journey. So just remember that. But also, as we're teachers, we've got to understand that sometimes maybe you're not ready to know how to do, I don't know, what's something really complicated.
Even applying raffia and wiring raffia branches, I don't know.
You're not ready for that because you're still working out where do I put branches, right? So just be kind to yourself as where you are in your journey and learn what you're ready to do.
We're a great team, Glenn. We should do it like a dual demo, mate. I'll let him know.
You could be the president of the club.
Oh my gosh.
You could be a dual president.
No, I don't mind that. All right. Oh, it looks bloody awesome. I'm not giving myself tickets, but yes, I think it's quite dynamic now. It's quite interesting. There's a balancing element here of telling a story. Got hit by this side, got hit by whatever with wind conditions, growing off the side of a cliff, bang, got hit. There's some story there to tell. And then, it's just survived, tried to go back to the sun or whatever it is, and it's looking good, but it needed something here. It didn't need the foliage. It needed something there. So, sorry? Well, at least I got that was my option one. It was probably my favourite option when I saw this tree. And it's come up really nice. Like, I wish I could spend more time wiring all these branches, but that's another hours of work. I can't do that. I'll probably apply a little bit more and probably trim a little bit more to make sure the tree's ready for when you guys auction it. Is it auction or raffle? What was that? Raffle. Oh my God, raffle. Holy that's amazing. For a raffle tree, that's pretty cool. You know what? The best auctions are when you get them all drunk and just spend. It's true. It's true. They buy everything. Oh. That's an amazing result, guys, by the way. I did say that, Glenn. That's amazing. 21 grand. That's amazing. All right. Oh, sorry. Did someone say? I missed it. This one? Nah, like it needs it there. It needs, for me, it needs just the best thing about bonsai is I can have, Glenn can be here, Brad, I get some Melbourne people, Quentin, Hunt, every single one will have a different result for the tree, yeah? It's very subjective, that's the word. Anyone can look at it, honestly, that's the best thing, I reckon, because my members bring in trees to a workshop, just a big area like this, they bring in trees, 5 people tell them different thing about the tree. I guarantee you get 5 different answers if you present this tree to anyone. So, correct. It's more than one right answer. There's no right or wrong. It's just what I like, what you like, what anyone likes, you know. But I like to tell you why I like something and why I did this and why I did this. And when I do that, that kind of makes sense. You know, I think it needs something here to balance the foliage around here to lead this way. I just think it needs that balance. That's why this branch is important. I had to wire this branch fully. This is the only one probably I wired fully because I needed something there because I was worried about losing this branch. But you definitely asked me that question. I'm more than happy to answer it. Any other questions? I can talk about other stuff while I keep it clean. Yell it out. Yell it out. Who asked me that? Did I answer you? I answered someone else. Because it's an absolute massive shock, right? I'm from Melbourne my whole life, and guess what? Don't follow the football. When I was younger, everyone followed football. But once I got to a certain age, I didn't follow it anymore. I hate to say it. It's awful saying it because I'm from Melbourne. But I did at one stage, I was a Carlton person at one stage when I was younger. But I know you guys love it. It's great. You guys both codes, don't you? Love both codes? No? Oh, some. But it's, it's great. Sport's great. Yeah. I know what you mean. Like, it really is a wonderful hobby. All right. Sorry?
It's easy when you chop all the branches off. Just have
Imagine I had to wire all that. I don't know how much longer that would have been. But honestly, I think I can't do too much more right now. I think that's Jenny, come on. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. No. All it is about in here, I want to do some fine work. That's about it. Aftercare for this tree. Aftercare, this isn't much what I've done. I've removed this branch, yes, but this really hasn't been hammered too much. It was okay. I did split a little bit of this branch here, but that should be fine. Just a split. Didn't come off. So you just treat it as, I personally would just look after it the same way that it was looked after before. So where was it in the garden?
On one of my stands, right in the middle of sunlight.
Beautiful. Back, that's where it should be. Okay? Just back where it was. Probably doesn't need as much water as before because you lost the whole half of a tree, but that's about it. But it got to give it sun. They love sun, these guys. One thing with procumbens, prostrata, especially in Melbourne, I don't know how Queensland is or Brisbane is. Shimpaku is different. I'll talk about procumbens, prostrata, and other certain junipers. In Melbourne, what we find is if we don't give them enough sun, water, fertiliser, they lose branches for no reason. I don't know if that happens here. Maybe you got more sun here. You got probably more sun, more good weather and stuff like that. But in Melbourne, even the best, Quentin, even the best, branches just die for no reason at all. And we're kind of starting to either it's a fungus that attacks it and kills the branch off from the tip. It goes from the tip and it just kills its way back. Or there's, we think it's just conditions. Not enough sun, in the shady spot too long, and just kills them off. Shimpaku, on the other hand, Shimpaku don't have that problem. Especially in Melbourne, we don't ever see any issues with Shimpaku dying off branches. They just grow and grow and grow. That's why I love the Shimpaku juniper more than pretty much anything. I've got one of these left in my house because it's the first tree I ever styled, and it's still alive 20-something years later. But every year it loses a branch here and there. I don't know why. I don't know. Do I need to repot more often? I still haven't figured it out. When I figure out what it is, I'll let you guys know. But I don't think you guys have that issue here, seems like. We definitely have it in Melbourne. Things just die off. But this is really healthy. Like, this is an old tree that doesn't look like it's got any dying branches. So, all right. So what's one thing you learned today? What's one thing that you learned? Don't move to Melbourne. What's one thing anyone learned? Anyone want to throw it? Even the workshop guys. Don't be shy. Wire? Wire trees, yeah. I think wiring is really cool. It's really important. Don't be scared. Sorry? That's right. Don't be scared to try something, you know. I mean, this is a beautiful piece of material to work with. I mean, this is fantastic material. But if you don't have to have trees like this to do something bold. You know, you can start on younger stuff. You know, Ryan brought in a young Shimpaku and we said we're going to bend it and twist it, and we tried. You know, it looks like a really nice little tree now. Alan's the same thing, really long. We bent the crap out of it and it looks really good. You know, even Wayne, we did some damage to your tree, really got into it, you know. Don't be scared to be bold on a tree to make it look better. You know, if you're going to just be plain, just little here and there and the tree looks not the best, try something. You know, give it a go, you know. Try and tell a story with the tree as well, because that gives you the direction sometimes. Okay. Any questions? I don't know. What else do you want me to tell you?
The more you cut off, the less you have to wire.
Correct. The more you cut off, the less you have to wire. That's true. That's true. Glenn?
That particular tree, one concern I have is that lower level tree, when you take the wire off, then probably going to go down.
The reason probably did, yeah. The reason you probably did that, the wire wasn't on long enough and there was too much foliage on the branch. So just a couple of things, like it had a lot of foliage and it was just drooping over time. Keep the wire on longer, thicken that up. Keep this shorter, try and give this a bit more time to strengthen. There's all these little things, it's just horticultural. That's what I think it was. If you have to leave the wire on, once this, I know you're going to raffle it off, unfortunately, but if this was going to someone's collection, going back to someone's home, you'd leave this heavy wire on for a year, let's say. Then you'd see if it's set. You see, if it's set, great, take it off. If it needs you need to reapply wire to this tree at this stage, use copper, because you're going to use a much smaller diameter, right? And if you have to reapply copper to that, you won't see it as much. Like, it will actually blend. Now it looks terrible because it's really thick and you can see how big it is. But copper will be half the size and it'll hold the same. You can leave that on, leave it on. It's just a time thing, unfortunately. Time's the worst.
Grow faster here, so you won't have to leave it on.
Well, there you go. It grows faster here. You don't even have to leave it 1 year. So for Melbourne, you probably have to leave it a year. But probably 6 months. I don't know. Does that kind of answer your question? It's just horticultural. It's nothing, no science. It's science, I think. That's it. I'll give you my opinion. I want people to shout out what they think. I always like to give. I'm a very interactive talker. Like, you know, a teacher is interactive. But I'm not a teacher. I just used to have to do so many presentations at work. You have to make it interesting when I used to work in the corporate world. But okay, someone give me an idea what they think. Think about it. It's really a literati, right? It's more literati, not entirely intensely literati, which crazy little bit of foliage out here. But when you think literati, what kind of pot does a literati go into? More roundish, yeah. That's what I think too. More roundish pot. But it has to be kind of not so smooth. Does that make sense? It needs a bit of ruggedness, just a little bit of texture in the pot somewhere. do you have many potters in Queensland, like who make Australian-made pots? Oh, there you go. Who's that? Hello. Where potters around, are there? There's lots of potters around. Good. Oh, Marie, of course. One of the best around. Pot, like a nice bit of texture, round, beautiful pot. Beautiful pot. Yeah. So you guys probably have something in your collection that will fit this beautifully. Like just about that wide, round, bit of ruggedness, not smooth, probably not even a Japanese one. Just something a bit of more Australian texture. You know those pots I'm talking about? Just something like that will look good. You can get one commissioned. I would give it a month just to see how it recovers. Because when do you guys repot junipers and conifers? In the next month or so. Just give it a little rest and see how it goes. Yeah, you should be able to. It's not that much of an angle change. And it's a juniper, like these things are, especially in your conditions, these things are indestructible. If you kill this after a repot, that means you probably, let me think what you could have done, let it dry out in the sun for too long or something, something really wild. Because we've taken off this much foliage. You don't need that much root anyway, for starters. You just want it to just rest a bit, recover a little bit, and then repot.
But also, and this must be a great experience, the other problem we have sometimes with repotting that is we get too sensitive about it, and we kind of put in chains, but then it stays too wet and roots right.
Yeah, so tell you, in Melbourne, like you guys, Brisbane, right? In Melbourne, my trees, as soon as I repot them, they go exactly the same spot they were in. Just don't worry, they'll be fine. I used to worry about it and put them in shade, and they used to die. Especially my maples, which would get too wet. All right, you repot them, they get too wet, boom, die. It just soaks. The new roots won't grow. It's too soggy and things like that. Also, soil mixture helps because, if you've got the right soil mixture, which is another whole story, just keep a nice open mix. That's all you have to worry about. Nice open mix. That's it. I know. No, I don't want to. I don't want to talk about soil. You can tick forever. Yeah.
Now, there's the people that think the skis or whatever it's called. For me, it's just check it every morning. Once it's dryish, water it. If that's every 3 days, if that's every 2 days, if that's after a repot, it might be a week. That's all I do.
That's the best way. That's the best way.
You're supposed to come back with something.
No. That's honestly, that's the best way, especially when I think it's like winter, forget about it. I hardly water my trees in winter. You guys will have to, but I would hardly even take the hose out in winter. We'll get a lot of frost, so the frost, melts and that waters the tree naturally. My pines and junipers, I do have to check occasionally. If we haven't had any rain for a while, I'll have to check them. Maybe they get twice a week watering, in winter. But I have a very open mix. Mine's 80% pumice and 20% pine bark. Okay, so mine's extremely open in Melbourne. Why is it so open in Melbourne? Because of our conditions. It's very wet. It can be very wet. I don't want the roots to rot. I prefer to have drier soil than wetter soil in mine. And I got used to it, so I get used to it. So the trick with me is, the issue with me is summer. Once summer hits, then what happens? Okay, so I've had to resort to sprinklers, simple as that. Because we could have dry, 40-degree days really dry. And if I don't have sprinkler going at least 3 times a day, I could lose a tree. Honestly, because it's very open mix. I know you're thinking crazy here. Here's probably different. You probably get humidity. Probably don't have to worry about it too much. Yeah. Oh, gosh. But that's physically watering 3 times a day is too hard for me. I just couldn't get around to it. But having a good sprinkler, if you set it up right and have very fine stuff, not fine, but nice, like almost rain feel, not gushing water out, just nice rainish kind of light rain feel. It works really well for me. That's me. Okay, I only say what I can do. But checking each tree is absolutely the best way to do it. But again, who's got the time? Sometimes. But For you guys in winter, I think you probably water what? Got to check? No, okay. Yeah, I barely would do every 3 days in Melbourne. But my pines and junipers, yes. Deciduous trees, I don't even water. Don't even water in Melbourne because there's no leaves on them. Okay, and usually, if they've been repotted, they're not going to have much roots on them. So why water them? You know, they'll just rot the roots. So that's see, Melbourne, Queensland, it's very hard for me to tell you things that what I do in Melbourne. You've got to listen to Glenn. You've got to listen to Brad. You've got to listen to the people who know in these conditions. You've got to listen to them. Okay. Sorry, I'm just giving you a big. It depends on the mix. Depends on the mix. Yeah, barely. Barely we have to water in winter.
I still water twice in winter. Yeah, but you make it much shorter, right? So.
Yeah. What else can I tell you? I was going to say, so I talked about so remind me what I said about what's the hardest thing in bonsai. Vision, like having a vision, right? How do you think you work on vision? How do you think it comes? How do you think vision comes? Look at nature, that's a great one. Yep. Say again. Study your trees, yeah, but you need the vision. Nature's a great teacher, right? Nature's one of the best teachers. Just look everywhere. Look online, look at trees online, look at bonsai exhibitions in Japan. Anywhere, just look at things and get your mind starting to think. Get your mind starting to understand what's out there. How does a deciduous tree really look in nature? You know, you can listen to Stephen Cullum talking about that forever. How does a deciduous tree, how does a broadleaf tree ever, look in nature? It's very different to what we were taught about triangular trees. It's just very different, right? But pines, literati, study, have a look. Just get out there and have a look, and then understand your tree. Do you have the branching to get that? Can those branches be bent to get that shape? And usually the answer is yes, especially this kind of material. Okay, I know Glenn was going to say something.
Well, I was just going to back that up. As a fortune or building work a couple of weeks back, and just driving down through the Philippines, looking at all the trees around the side of the road there, I used to listen to the new
There's a huge one?
Oh, don't worry, we have the same problem. Don't worry, we have the same problem.
And the thing that I saw there was amazing beauty in the trees down there, but we don't get up here because of that slow growth, the wind, that condition, like the gum tree up here is as high straight up. Down there, they're like
Very different. Yeah, very different.
So go to Velvet just to see the natural trees.
There's also a good site online about big trees in the world,
Well, there you go.
and some of those trees are really old and really big, but amazing shape.
Yeah. So one thing I did was I like to study the Japanese junipers. Like, look at their junipers. Like, they're insane. They got so much gin and deadwood everywhere, bits of foliage, and you look at those and you're going, yeah, if we can grow a tree for 50 plus years in the ground, you can get that, right? But how can I start? So I started with Shinpaku, and I really loved it. 15 years ago or so, it was hard to find Shinpaku juniper in Melbourne. Like, it was hard to find it. So I was lucky to find 2 stock plants. And those stock plants, I just started taking air layers off. And then each year I would take more air layers off those stock plants. And then the ones that I took air layers off started to grow and grow and grow. Then I started to twist them up, bend them and twist them and so on and so forth. And I found a couple more stock plants, maybe I had 4 or 5 of them, each year taking air layers off. Pretty much now they're 100% success rate every time I do an air layer. In Melbourne, put them on in August, take them off in December. You guys probably even faster. You probably do it even faster here. But very easy, 3 to 4 months, you got a new Shinpaku juniper in your hand. And doing 30 air layers each year, keep adding to the collection over 10, 15 years, you start to really grow a large Shinpaku collection. And that's how I grew the stuff I really wanted to grow. And that's how Shimpaku is my favourite, pretty much my favourite species. All I really grow is Shimpaku, black pine and maples now, pretty much. I love Australian natives, love looking at them. We've got a Victorian native bonsai club in Melbourne, amazing trees. I love to look at them. I know how to style them, but I can't own one because I'd have to go back 15, I'm just thinking, got to go back 15 years, start to learn all the things I need to learn. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to enjoy the natives. You know, you just want to go along and go, I love it. It's beautiful. It's just a magnificent tree. You know, that's what I want to do with natives. I just really want to enjoy just looking at them and just seeing how they've done them and just the beauty of them. So, but Shimpaku is one thing that as I said, I take it from air layer all the way through to having, you know, nice, most of my Shimpakus are this small, nice thick trunks and twisted, bent, small trees. I've got small ones like this big, you know, really small ones, medium. I've got a couple of larger Shimpakus, but they're more the traditional kind of triangular kind of shaping trees. They look nice. They're beautiful trees. Getting heavy, but these little ones, develop them in, I have to say, at least 10 years you need to develop a nice, really good Shimpaku mini to look perfect in a pot is about 10 years, which isn't that long to get a really good quality trunk, good quality, you know, pads and so on. So that's why I love that.
I'll be dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We probably do 5 years in Brisbane. What are you talking about? In Brisbane, it'll be 5 years, no problem.
You could go back 10 years and start a project with your junipers to create those small, a collection of small ones. How many did you start with so that by the end of 10 years you whittled out the ones you're not happy with? You've got this, you know, a really nice set. But you go back 10 years, how would you create that?
Yeah, well, I guess for me it would be, I probably was already on the way 10 years ago, so I probably have to go a little bit further back, but you're on the right track. The fastest way to grow the Shimpakus and the best way is to have them wide up when they're young, okay? And then if you have enough land, grow beds, whatever you can get your hands on to actually grow them faster, in the ground they go. Okay, I don't know what the soil like is in Queensland, but if you have a garden bed, like a large bed, and you plant them and grow them in the ground with the wire on them and wire them up each year, twisting them up each year, after 5 years, you'd have really nice small Shimpaku, all twisted up trunks, twisted up branches, and they can be gins and just a nice little tree. That'll be 5 years worth, then develop it for another couple more years, and you got sensational trees. But that's what I would do if I can go back. You know, it would be much faster to get to. But I don't have the land. I don't have the space. In Melbourne, I've got a courtyard. So I've got barely enough soil around the courtyard area to do any of that. So I'm growing in pots, so it takes me even longer. But if you got land, you just put them in the ground. If you're young enough, which I was back then, put them in the ground, but have them wide up in the ground, grow them on, wire them up, grow them on. Each year, tweak them. That's what I would do different. Anything else? Any other techniques you want to talk about? No? Okay, one more question. Direction. Does anyone know the direction of these trees? Does anyone know what direction means? In bonsai, direction?
Oh, they should listen to
This is a good one. This is an easy one. It's towards that way. Yeah. See how everything's flowing in this direction? Everything's supposed to flow in this direction. The only thing is this, right? Because that's the dynamic bit. That's the bit that's got killed off, telling a story, something happened, but the tree's still in this direction. Yeah? Direction's really interesting. Like you could...
Does it always go?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes you can have something called asymmetry or crazy stuff where the whole thing goes this way, but then the apex goes back this way. Things like that. But I like the natural flow of this. This is quite nice. This is a bit more like asymmetrical. It's going the other way. But the whole tree's going that way. So that was, sorry, I had to ask that question. Last one.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Beautiful tree. It really is a nice tree. It really come up good.
Well, it's